Oh, yeah, no, you're fine.
And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to come back out of closed session.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, consent agenda. 9.1 minutes, May 14th regular minutes, and May 28th special minutes. 9.2 claims and accounts. 9.3 revenue expenditure trial balance reports. 9.4 interlocal agreement, Ishpeming Township and City of Negaunee impound services. 9.5 Commission on Aging and Board appointments. 9.6 fire truck repairs budget adjustment. 9.7 rural heritage grant application Vista sign. 9.8 Dixon agreement cemetery water storage tank. 9.9 Miller Road repairs Venish engineering proposal agreement. 9.10 MEUW safety and training agreement Negaunee electrical department. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, public comments. 3 minutes, please state your name.
I live on 414 Division Street, on the corner of Copper. I'd like to know what's coming around on that flood that we have there.
They don't have.
Cully's Park's underwater. It's over the trail, it's over the other, in fact, it flooded Hackle's well service this spring. Is there anything gonna be done on it, or what? Nate, you were there.
They can't answer during public comment.
It's all statements, it's not question and answer.
I'd just like to know what's gonna be
It's
done.
not done.
Why question it then? You don't get an answer.
I have a question about the permits for the food trucks. Maybe it's just a comment, but, you're giving, licenses for food trucks for $250 for 6 months. We have businesses in town that sell food. They're trying their darndest to stay here. And then you're turning around and giving food trucks, a license for $250 to take away their business. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's right.
Hello, Kristen Moynihan again, Ellis Street. I just really, hope something's done about that cop. You don't do that. You don't intimidate a child and walk into somebody's house and walk up their stairs when they're sleeping and wake them up. Disgusting. Something better be done. I can name the cop. You want me to do it? Because I will. It's coming. Ridiculous and sickening. Nate, I don't know, you're losing a really good senior citizen, senior center employee in town. You're losing her. You micromanaged her, I don't want United Way, I don't want UpCap, screw it. Now we all go through you. You're the man, Nate. First time I came to a city council meeting, when you were talking about the fence at the cemetery. Yeah, we're gonna take the fence out of the cemetery, we're gonna sandblast it, we need volunteers, blah, 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 blah. And your big thing was, nobody's being buried anymore. Well, nobody's burying anybody anymore. We're a community. You came from a shithole. You called Negaunee a shithole, remember a couple months back? We're not a shithole. We are a community. See these people? My family has been at that cemetery for years. So is everybody else. You don't have that. You don't have that in you. You're greedy. I wanna say so much more, but I'm not gonna. Anyway, Nate, get a hold of your cops, get a hold of your building. Your walls are very thin, very thin. Thanks, have a great day.
Get a hold of Johnny from Negaunee.
As I trip.
Anyone else for public comment?
Yeah, I got a question. I don't know if I'm addressing the proper, I'm not used to this, I've never been one before. I have a problem on Birch Street, Birch and Hungerford. Who do I talk to about these buses now? Seems like 152 countries in the world found out the farce this whole Wuhan deal was, and it's wearing a mask all the time. You know, why are all these buses there with drivers driving buses and maintenance? Why are these buses carrying nobody? They go by right in front of my window. There's nobody in the buses. I don't understand what happened. We were kids, we walked or we rode a bike or did something. What's going on with that traffic? I can't even get out of my driveway in the morning. Am I talking to the wrong group here?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, when it's like, I'm getting the silent treatment. I don't understand what it is. So, excuse me. So talk to who then? It's like a game show.
I wish there'd be prizes.
Well, we're really thinking about the money and maintenance and fees and gas and
Any other public comment?
Well, I'll make a public comment. Jill Howard, 207 West Clark Street here in Negaunee. The bus situation, I agree with you 1000%. The amount of money that's spent on them to house them, and the traffic that comes along with it. The parents, they all drive their kids to school because their kids tell them to. No, I can't help any of you with that, but I do agree, what a waste of money. A huge, huge, huge expense. And something should be done that should come down to vote. If you continue to drive your kids and block up 3 miles of traffic, let's vote on it, but the bus has gotta go. It's a huge expense. And more people should come to city council meetings to understand how they do run. It's not question and answer, but you're not always shocked or surprised what's going on because you have your pulse on the community by attending these things and talking and seeing what's going on. So I really feel your pain, and you're not wrong, and down with the buses. Thank you.
Just one chance for public comment. Anybody else for public comments?
All right.
Seeing none, closing public comment. Number 11, council member comments. Dave, we'll start with you tonight.
Well, this evening, thank you everyone for coming out. It's through the Pledge of Allegiance. It was nice to hear a little bit of an echo in the room. More people saying it. That was nice to hear. But one thing on the public comment thing, and yeah, I know it can be frustrating sitting in the crowd. That there's no back and forth, but that's not the point of a council meeting. This is a business meeting for the city of Negaunee. That you can make comments, yes, but it's not a back and forth. That's just the way that the meetings are run. So on that, I want to say thank you to the firefighters and the police department for that incident we had at First Oil last week. I heard the sirens going off. I went on my back door, just saw a big black plume of smoke. I thought, holy crap, what's that? And sure enough, they had it under control. And I also want to thank a lot of the citizens because they were kind of helping out with traffic control. like we got down by the passy shop, they're kind of diverting people to go around Water Street just to keep them away from the intersection, away from the fire. So it was a nice community effort by all to just see that that situation was taken care of and taken care of safely. So that's pretty much what I have for tonight.
Tracy,
That's right.
Amanda.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and, sharing your concerns with us. We definitely, need to hear these things, so that we're in the know. So I really appreciate all of your comments and input. Yeah, I'm bummed we're losing Tam as well. I've had the pleasure of meeting her and speaking with her, and it's sad that we're losing her. And data centers, I haven't heard about that, but that would be terrible. I agree. They use a lot of water, they use a lot of electricity, it's just terrible for a small town. And let's see. Also, I just wanted to say, back when I owned a business and I had employees under me, I did evaluations of my employees. I evaluated their performance, their care for the business equipment. It was a dog grooming business, so care for the dogs. I also got input from other employees on their interactions, things like that. So we're in the process of doing an evaluation for the city manager. So, appreciate your input as well. And I think as a council, as city council, we are, like you said, we are Nate's boss. And we should be giving our due diligence to ensure that he has a fair and accurate evaluation. This is an important part of our job. It benefits us, it benefits him to know what he is doing well and not well. And it benefits the city staff that work with him, and in turn benefits the city. So, I would encourage, all of my fellow council members, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor Ilman, and the department heads to do their due diligence in making sure that, the, most accurate evaluation is done. That's it.
John.
Well, yeah, I'd like to also thank all of you for being here this evening. It's really wonderful to see, and I love it when people get interested in what's going on in our city and our city government. Kids are out of school just recently, so please watch out. There are a lot more of them on bikes and running around the neighborhood and all kinds of kids out and about. So as you're moving through the city, please be conscientious and aware of that. And that said, please also keep in mind that not all issues are city government issues. The city doesn't run buses, for example. The county runs buses, or the schools run buses. So I understand that there are things that might upset people or frustrate you, but we're here to help you maybe focus that in the right direction. If it's a city issue, I think you'll find that pretty much everybody at this table would be willing to help you, navigate that. But we also might tell you, hey, that's a problem, but it's not a city problem.
To clarify, that
So
was for him, it wasn't for any of you.
I'm not directing my comments at anyone other than the chair.
Just clarify.
So,
Move to
so that's
the
that.
here.
So that being said,
That being said.
apparently my comments are done. So, thanks.
I do, it is nice, I think most of us sitting here like seeing full seats and people paying interest to what's going on in the city, so thank you for being here also. I think this makes our job easier when we have the public commenting on what we need to focus our attention on, so that's always very important. We could use a lot more public involvement, and it's not just the city council, we have planning commissions, DDAs, parks and recs, a lot of meetings that are actually quite interesting, you learn a lot about what's going on in the city, so I'm trying to make it to more of those again. So, and just to address the idea of data center, because that's coming up in every community, and I think we can talk generally about that, that when cities, when you hear talk at the city level, data centers, there is an advantage to getting ahead in developing some parameters for data centers. What happens is data centers, see, whether you like them or not, I know they are very unpopular in public as of late, they tend to find places with no regulation, no ordinance, and so the idea is cities can get ahead of the data center issue by establishing guidelines, ordinances, rules that would hold up legally. Because if somebody buys a piece of land, they can do pretty much anything they want within the rules of zoning. And so if there are no zoning rules disallowing certain things, let's say noise levels, pollution, it would be hard to make that case ladder for the city that you can't do that. So the idea is getting ahead of it. That's why you're maybe hearing talk. The discussion is going on at the planning commission level, and I welcome you all to come. As John said, our meeting is Tuesday, and we've been discussing it a lot and trying to develop some guidelines that fit the legal parameters and will satisfy at least offering protection to the citizens from what people see as the worst effects of data centers. Because from what I understand legally, you can't just say no to data centers. You set your city up potentially for a lawsuit. So the idea is to get ahead of it, develop sound parameters to guide that process. And I think almost every community is going to be dealing with some form of a data center wanting to come there. And it's a town like Negaunee, a city like Negaunee, we're getting ahead of that by discussing it. So, and as far as I know, I don't know of any data center that wants to come here. The idea is to get ahead of it. So,
Thank you for explaining that.
thank you all.
First of all, I'd just like to say it's an honor to sit in this chair and to chair this meeting. I'm grateful for the confidence of the city council, for the work of the city staff, and for all of you for coming out tonight to make your voices heard. It's not always glamorous, but the work we do here is important, and it's important that we hear the voices of the people. So thank you all for coming out tonight. I really do appreciate it. Mr. City Manager.
All right, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and council members. First, want to thank everybody for coming out for their, to address the council and provide feedback and comments to not just the council, but to myself. I do want to address a couple of those issues to answer those, because I know that since we don't have a back and forth opportunity, there's some opportunity to answer some of those questions for folks in the audience, especially for those that maybe don't come here very often. We did address the bus issue a little bit, so if there are any questions about school buses, that'll be the school board. If there are questions about MarkTran, that'll be MarkTran you want to contact. Those are the folks that operate the buses within Marquette County. Division Street, I believe there's a question from the gentleman in the audience on that. There was some flooding in that area. That culvert right now is clogged, and we are going to attempt to service that culvert, and if we can prevent from having to replace it, that's our goal. So you'll see some work there in the near future that will pull a couple segments out of there, try to clean out the debris that's built up over time. And if we're successful and we can open that back up, that should prevent some of the flooding when we have higher snowfalls or possible rainfalls. And then we will work with our staff to ensure that we're cleaning that out on a more regular basis. Like many things in the city, for many, many years, deferred maintenance was what we did here. So now that, some of that stuff is finally catching up, so we'll be working to get that issue resolved, so we won't have that flooding happen next year. We'll address the data centers next. We have not received an application, nor have we received any interest in a data center in the city of Negaunee. And just to clarify, and also to support Councilmember Plummer's comments, there will be information provided at the next planning commission meeting where we are attempting to modify our ordinance, which puts us ahead of the game, so we can tell people where and when and how they could build a data center in the city of Negaunee. So just to be clear, under Michigan law, we have to provide land uses that are not regulated by federal or state. Where they come in and say, the feds might come and say they have precedence over that, or the state may come in and say that. We have it on everything else. So we get to decide where these things might go if anybody ever came here. And we get to put restrictions on them to make sure that they're not going to do things that we don't want to have happen in our community. So that's being fleshed out right now. If you'd like to be part of that process, I encourage you to go to the planning commission meeting. We're far away at this point from even, well, we're not that far away, but we're far away enough where that issue will come before the council to be adopted and put into official law. The risk, as Mr. Plummer did say, is a city or a community like a township, if they don't have anything on the books, if I want to build a data center, I have to come right to your community, put an application in generally, and I have to have my application reviewed through due process, and if pretty much your goose is cooked, I can build my data center to a certain degree. So we want to prevent that from happening. So that's what we're going to also encourage our fellow communities. I recently went to a manager summit with the other UP communities, and some of them are doing some of the same stuff. Some of them are doing moratoriums, but you can't do a moratorium forever. And then some of them are just waiting for us to pass our ordinance so we can send it to them and they don't have to pay an attorney to do it. So that'd be coming down the line. So rest assured, the data center issue will put us in a much protected state by us taking these proactive actions. All right, so we'll address a comment that was made on an audit. Our audits are posted every year. We receive an audit every single year from the state of Michigan. That is the law. And as far as I understand it, we are not in a financial situation that might be being confused with the city of Ishpeming right now. We are financially fine. When I make comments saying we can't dump in $500,000 into the ice arena, that's because we have to make sure we're protecting our funds. And we're not gonna just dump a big chunk of money into it and then an emergency occurs and then we don't have the money and then all of a sudden we're in the same position where Ishpeming might be. And then we have state receivership. And if you get state receivership, that means this council doesn't make very many decisions at all. I certainly don't make any decisions. Some other guy known as an emergency manager would come into the city and start cutting. And I'll tell you what they're gonna cut first. It's gonna be the senior center, it's gonna be the library, it's gonna be the police department, it's gonna be the parks, it's gonna be all the services that are ancillary that they would declare not needed. So that's my goal, not to put us in that position. That's what the city council's goal is, not to put us in that position. We are not even close to that position. So I just wanna be clear on that. And if you're unable to find the audit or the audits we do have online, feel free to reach out to my office, and we'll be glad to show you how to get to that. If you need one printed out, we'd be glad to print that out for you as well. It's all available online, available upon request. You can FOIA it too if you really want to go that route. But we're open. We'll give you any information that you request, as long as we're allowed to. All right. The next issue I'd like to cover is the senior center, because I know there's a lot of seniors here that came to speak on that issue today. So I'll just start with this. I'm a little bit taken back and disappointed in a private, off-the-cuff conversation that I had with the director concerning certain funding that we receive outside the city. The primary funding we receive for the operations of the senior center is from CAM. We do receive a portion of our money from United Way, and there's some other smaller resources we do receive money from as well. including the city of Negaunee, which I'll touch on that in a moment. I did not say that we would not accept United Way money. I did not say we would not accept CAM money. There would be no feasible way to operate this senior center at all if those monies were refused. There is no money to operate the senior center if we did get that money from those locations. My concerns were that if we received $10,000 from an organization with many, many, many strings attached, telling us how to spend the rest of our $250,000 or so, that's an issue for me, and I was a little bit burnt by it. However, if we're accepting grants from somebody, we don't have a choice. We have to do what we need to do. There are opportunities for other grants out there potentially. There are other funding options we have within the city. So that rumor of getting rid of that funding source is absolutely incorrect and not true whatsoever. As for wages, you're right. We do need to raise the wages for these guys here. And we have done that over the years. Has it been enough? No, it has not. So we are working on that issue to make sure that we address that issue. And we most recently did that with our temp service folks that we brought in, because it has been very difficult to find people that want to work at all. We just don't get very many applications. And police officers, we're having issues finding for police officers. We're having part-time people for our Parks and Rec. That's an issue too. So we just have fewer people, a fewer amount of folks that are interested in potentially doing this job. Now, part of that could be due to the wage itself, but we also offer full-time benefits, full health care, and other things that equate out to being $20,000 or more worth of benefits that they receive on top of their salary. So there's always room for improvement, and we will work as best as we can to address that issue in the future as funds become available. Concerning budget cuts, the budget has been cut, but not for the reason you think. It hasn't been cut to prevent people from being hired. The budget was cut because nobody could be hired. And the one gentleman, I don't remember who he was, since COVID is absolutely right. It's been very difficult to find people who want to take the caregiver jobs, the chore care, just the full-time positions, the part-time positions sometimes. We've been trying to hire a service coordinator for many, many years. The money was cut because every year we have to find money to fill that gap. And then that money never gets spent. So we're leaving $25,000 on the table every year, and then we might have to cut in another department somewhere else to make sure we fill that gap. Well, if we're not spending that money, we're just holding on to it. And I've been very clear with not only the former director, but the current director, if they hire additional service people, I will go to council and we will restore that funding so we can hire those people. But we have never got those people to fill those positions. I've been absolutely crystal clear on that from day one. And the one thing is, we don't want to sit there and start hunting for money all the time if we're not gonna spend it over there. So the goal is, we need to come up with a robust program where we can recruit some people to help us fill those positions and retain those people so we can provide those services you want. So again, the budget has been cut, but not for the reasons that you may understand it to be. It's we're just holding on to that money, waiting for somebody to come in so we can hire them and provide that service for you guys. That's everything with the senior center that I'm willing to discuss at this time. Besides the point that we will be putting a call out for a new director. The hope is when the new director comes in, that they will be able to hire their own assistant. That was kind of what we were trying to do here. We had an assistant for a minute, but they ended up leaving. A better job, apparently, that's what we were told. And then once that senior center director picks that person, then they can help train that person to fulfill that position. That's the goal. That decision for who will be hired for the senior center director will be done primarily with my assistants and the Commission on Aging. That's what we did last time as well. They interviewed everybody, and then we voted on who that person should be, and we chose Tam. That's how that occurred. I feel it's important not to have the city manager be the only one making the decision on who that person is hired to fill that position. That's why I decided to go that route, to include the Commission on Aging, so we have their input and get their buy-in on who that person will be to help fulfill the services here for the senior center. And then lastly, Mr. Mayor and council, misprint on the manager report. The employee picnic will be on August 7th, not August 1st. August 1st is a Saturday, and I don't think anybody was gonna come and get a hamburger for free regardless of who it is cooking it. So that will be at the Jim Thomas Pavilion from 11 a.m. to 1. And just a reminder, unless there's any objections, and there hasn't been for the number of years, the employees after 1 p.m. Will be able to leave for the rest of the day. The only exception, obviously, will be the police officers that will be on for their shift. And then lastly, there will be a Tree USA ceremony at Jackson Mine Park tomorrow at 7 p.m. right over here. Hopefully it doesn't rain. And hopefully we can see some folks over there, and we'll be planting a tree in honor of John Arple. And that's all I have.
Mr. City Attorney.
Just briefly, and I just want to follow up with the data center discussion and Mr. Plummer's comments, and I would just indicate that our firm represents a lot of municipalities across the Upper Peninsula, northern Wisconsin, and this is a big issue that many communities are wrestling with. And one thing I've always been impressed with Negaunee is the amount of public input and public involvement. And so I would encourage everybody to attend planning commission meetings, to attend DDA meetings, to volunteer for one of the several committees that do good work within the city, because that input is invaluable when making decisions. Not just always when you're frustrated with an issue, but be proactive and come to these other meetings and see what goes on, because your input in those issues is very important to make sure that the decisions that are made here are what the city wants to see moving forward, for what it's worth.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So no talk of the rogue cop, right? Rogue cop, no talk about it? If you're gonna do it again with somebody else's election sign,